Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, ICP continues to surge. We can even see that when I started to record, it actually went up a couple of cents, and it is continuing to go. Right? It is continuing to go. Now, before we jump into technical analysis, I just want to say this. Listen, to all the ICP haters, hold this L. All right. Hold this damn L because people were clowning on this crypto, and I want you to take this out and put it right on your forehead. Hold it, okay? Hold this out. Here's the deal, right? ICP is a great project. I don't care what people say. You can go even do your own research. You could ask ChatGPT. You can watch a lot of videos. If you know anything about ICP, you know it is objectively a great project. Okay. And look, look at the price. I mean, this thing went from pretty much sitting at 280 all the way at 950 currently. Okay. And I don't expect it to stop until we hit probably at least the $10 zone. Look, when we go and look on the smaller time frame, we can see there's nothing indicating right now that structure is broken. Right? That's something we talked about a little bit last time, that there's no indication. And to be honest, as long as the structure kind of continues the way it's going, nothing will stop this, right? We will know when there's going to be a huge market structure shift in ICP. When we go and even look at it from a fundamental standpoint, I can even go on something like the 4 hour. The 4 hour is so easy to look at, right? Anyone that knows simple technical analysis, you can see consistently that boom, right? We have we have lows over here, and then we have consistent higher and higher lows, right? Just the black part, right? We'll look at the black part, we can see boom, higher low, right? And even if, like I said, we retrace down a little bit and create another higher low, we're still higher than this point, higher than this point, and higher than this point, and higher than this point, right? And it's been like this consistently, I mean, ever since pretty much the first. Now, if we go and take away those points and look at something like the hourly, I mean, the hourly is also pretty much near perfect. Okay, it is pretty much near perfect. Every time ICP starts to retrace and or starts to kind of go back up, we can see the technical analysis is near perfect, right? The fundamentals are literally perfect. So if we start from literally when it starts to reverse to the upside, we have a bottom, higher bottom. Well, guess what? Another higher bottom. I'm going to use the brush for this. Higher bottom, higher bottom, higher bottom, right? Consistently. I mean, look at this thing. This thing is literally perfect. Now, you could debate, obviously, that, hey, what is this, right? But then look, boom, 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 consistent higher lows. We go look at this. Yes, it is technically lower, but like I said, on the 1 hour, sometimes it's not going to be perfect, but it is like 85 to 95% perfect. Like it is almost like it's just great. I mean, it is just fantastic, right? And that's also when you look at the 4 hour chart and other charts as well. But we can see, right, it starts to go down, 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 down. And once it starts showing reversal signs, it is literally perfect. I mean, that the lows keep just going up higher and higher and higher and higher. And then, yeah, when you use the combination of the 1 hour, the 4 hour, I mean, it's just perfect. I mean, I know I just said perfect like 5 times, but I mean, I don't even know what else to say. It's just the truth, right? When we go and take the MA cross with the custom settings, we can see that when the orange line is above the green, that means we are bullish. Okay, once again, if the orange line is above the green, we are bullish. Bullish means going up. If the green is above the orange, that means we're bearish. We are in a downtrend. And we can see we broke out of it on the first, on the 4 hour, and ever since then, I mean, look at this gap, right? Look at this huge gap. There's still zero indication showing that we are going to be reversing soon. Now, I will say I do think next week is most likely going to be a sell candle, but we will talk about that in just a second once we look at these lines over here. And we can see this has been fairly consistent as well. It's never going to be 100% accurate, but it is going to be fairly consistent around the 80 to 95% accuracy range. So once again, another great tool. Plus the market structure really does help. We can see that pretty much, back in January, the green line was above the orange, and it was pretty much showing consistent bearish momentum. We can see it got flipped back here in May because yes, that was valid. We actually went and broke structure, but then it was very, very short-lived. And you can see it was consistent up and down. But then once we kind of got to mid to late August, it was consistent down until November. When we go and look at it from a weekly standpoint, I mean, this is also valid as well, right? It does show that pretty much since the beginning of 2025, a little bit more after that, we have been consistently bearish. But we can see in terms of the average, right? In terms of the average, we're actually about to flip. We're about to have the orange line above the green line. Now, you might be thinking, well, why isn't it above it yet? And that's because we have all of this range. We have all of this huge, huge, huge big zone. So it calculates, certain prices, it calculates these higher zones. It also needs a little bit more time to see where, how we're going to react off of certain areas and play out. But we can see almost on the weekly, when we count the higher time frame, we flipped too, which is very, very nice. Now the monthly, not quite yet, but to be honest, that is fine, right? Because the monthly is a very, very unique time frame. And to be honest, it's not worth looking at the most, but the daily is what matters as of right now. And like I said, it is looking really, really, really solid. Now, what do I think is going to happen? Well, pretty much I expect the Saturday and Sunday to kind of go up consistently. I do think we will probably maximum top out at $11. I don't think we are going to get a higher candle close than this one. And this is not, it's not nothing about hating ICP or, thinking it's not good. It's just simply basic market structure, right? We have this huge imbalance. And here's the thing, you don't want ICP to fly all the way to $16 now because it's going to have to correct this huge, huge, huge movement. Okay. And that is just the truth. So, although this is super, super nice, if we want it to be on a more fundamental side, we kind of want this to be a little bit more short lived. And generally speaking, right, even though I expect a little bit more momentum, we kind of want to see this over the next couple of weeks where we kind of consistently go lower, get a little bit correction, and just fundamentally continue to go up because that is going to be the best thing coming into 2026. You don't want to have a messed up part of your chart and coin because it's going to be needed to be corrected. The market makers could, in theory, always leave that until the bear season, but most of the time they don't. Most of the time they don't. So, look, let's just say we go upwards of $10, 10.50. I kind of expect something like this. Then let's say the weekly candle closes here, right? Let's say this is the weekly candle close. What I expect overall is the Monday to go up higher, but then to fake out, and then for us to kind of start retracing downwards. Now, once again, this is not a hater type thing. This is just simple market structure and fundamentals. Usually when you see a huge surge, right, and you get to a key zone, off that key zone, you will start to sell off. And like I said, that is what you want. So any short-term holders, you really need to start thinking, right? If you are the ones that flip cryptos consistently, you need to start considering taking your profits either now or very, very soon, because I do personally believe that next week there will be a sell-off. Now, once again, there's no data as of right now. There's no data indicating a reversal, right? No data at all. We are, like I said, consistently getting higher and higher lows and higher highs. We have this low, this high, consistent low, getting higher and higher, right? I know this is a little bit messy, but still, even if we were to come back down here, we're still consistently going up, right? And I'm telling you, we will know. You will know when ICP really breaks structure. ICP would probably dip like $2 to $3 in a single day. I'm not even joking, right? We would probably hit $10 and then it would probably sell off very, very aggressively, come back down to like 650 to 7. Then it would see a little bit of recovery, almost back to 9. And then we would continue something like this. I've seen it time and time again. Obviously, this is just theory right now. Like I said, once again, we still have zero confirmations or reversals, but historically, that's kind of what happens. So short-term holders consider selling soon, in my personal opinion. Not a financial advisor, but just logically, I mean, that kind of makes the most sense. You can't expect for pumps to kind of continue going up higher and higher, especially after we've seen, right? We've kind of seen pretty much a 3x at this point, over a 3x, 3.3x from these bottoms down here. Okay. So just consider that. Just consider that. Now, listen, right? Boom. We see ICP have so much life in a week span. I personally believe ICP is going to be hitting $90 at the bare minimum. Well, like $70, this whole zone here. Okay. I believe at the bare minimum of 70 this to $80 is going to be happening. We saw the momentum ICP have in a single week during some of the most rough times for altcoins. What's going to happen when we're going to have more money in the markets? It's going to be the altcoin season, and all of the money is going to be shifting into us, and we're finally going to get our true moment for consistent weeks. Okay, for consistent weeks. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's just say ICP kind of kept this up consistently for another 5 more weeks. If ICP consistently went up, $6 to $7 for another 5 more weeks, at the bare minimum, we would be looking at, I don't even know. Six times five. I mean, 30 plus thing, $40. $40, right? And that's on the lower end. That's on the lower end. You might think that's not, but on the lower end, we would expect something like $40, which I always said, right? On the lower end, we should expect the mid 30s at the bare minimum. But yeah, look, ladies and gentlemen, that is ultimately going to be it. Also, something I did want to say, I guess I kind of got this a little wrong, but I was almost right. So you know how I used to talk about how, boom, we have this zone over here, we have this zone over here, boom, boom, right? Then we have kind of like this zone, we kind of have like this zone. Then we have the down and sideways, which was technically this. It was down and sideways, and then this zone here. Then it was this zone here. Now, I was talking about this, but I was slightly incorrect. I did think that pretty much, right? I did think that pretty much for a long time that this zone was most likely this zone. So we got things a little bit wrong. But I mean, it happens, right? It happens. If you consistently bought down here at 450, you still would have been fine. If you're looking for a short-term flip, you still would have got a 2x after all of these, months. But here's the thing, right? ICP is literally following the same type of algorithm it did in the past. So do not worry, right? People think these markets aren't rigged, but I'm telling you, like literally, it's the same exact thing, right? Down recovery a little bit, right? And then guess what? More down, and then up very aggressively, more down, and then up aggressively, right? We will talk about this in a future ICP video as well. So the next one will be dedicated to this whole thing for a couple minutes, and then we will obviously give the short-term breakdown. But that is ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys enjoy. I'll talk to you guys next time. Wait, I'm not done. Rank 27 out of 9,320 active cryptos. Things are looking good. Almost 2 billion in volume, 5 billion market cap in the last, 5 billion market cap in the last 24 hours, went up 17%. In the last week, 205%. In the last month, 107%. That is ultimately it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.